since Wall Street's collapsing, I mean, what is this, a house of cards? What is Wall Street? What is our how does our financial, how does all this work? Max Kaiser's wife says that the U.S. dollar is dead. It's dead. Our dollar is dead. Why? I mean, we're all passing around. It's fiat currency, but I thought we were still pretending that it had value. But apparently, silver and gold is the toilet paper of the billionaire class. This is Max Kaiser. So the 1%, they're panic buying just like the poor peasants of America are. But instead of buying a bunch of toilet paper, they're buying a bunch of silver and gold. And Max Kaiser does not think that that is wise. Now, our senators are absolutely wonderful. You know, America's senators, they're the House of Lords, they're the elite. They're, you know, talking about maybe giving us $1,000 bucks, maybe giving us 600, maybe 1,000, maybe 2. Who knows? Who knows? But our senators are just, they're very smart capitalists. Dianne Feinstein, brilliant capitalist. Dianne Feinstein of California. So this is the, liberal state in America. So Dianne Feinstein, she dumped $2 to $6 million in stock right before this coronavirus outbreak. So she was like, oh man, it almost seems like insider trading. James Inhofe, that's a senator from Oklahoma, James Inhofe. Who are you guys? How come I don't know anything about you? I know more about, that representative from the Bronx than I know about Kelly Loeffler, Richard Burr, Kelly Loeffler, James Inhofe, Dianne Feinstein. Who are these people? I don't know, but they're just brilliant capitalists. So Richard Burr, he's a senator of North Carolina, made $600,000 off the coronavirus. Kelly Loeffler, senator from Georgia, dropped hundreds, a whole bunch of stock, made hundreds of thousands of dollars before the coronavirus. So they would sell what? Hotels. What else? Let's see. Hotels. What else is there? There's hotels, casinos, hotels, tattoo parlors. Do not invest in tattoo parlors. They all got shut down in New York. That is not essential. But you do know what is essential? Liquor stores, marijuana stores, but not tattoo shops. There's about 100 things that's essential. There's a lot of things. Anyways, Dianne Feinstein, congratulations, just, on your brilliant maneuvering. She, made millions off of our misery. So, Dianne Feinstein is just a wonderful opportunist. Dianne Feinstein, James Inhofe, they saw a moment which they could capitalize upon America. And they made millions off of our misery, right? And they grabbed it. They had one moment, just like Eminem said. If you had one moment, one shot. And what did Kelly Loeffler, the senator from Georgia, and Richard Burr do? They took it. And we shouldn't tax them, even though they tax us just for capitalizing on us. They're smart, we're dumb. We just have to accept that as a fact of nature. We probably should just fire them bastards. What the goddamn fuck. So this whole video is about I want to put a limit. I want to put a cap on spending. I am socialist. I am liberal. I am left, leaning. I'm a bleeding heart liberal, so, my heart leads me. And we do need to save our money. So we need to use our heads, too. I'm conservative, too. So I got liberal and I got conservative. So we need to be, conservative with our money. We don't need to just be spending willy-nilly. The U.S. dollar is dead. We don't want the U.S. dollar to die. So, we need to spend some money, but how much money? We can't just spend, trillions of dollars. You spend $1 trillion, you spend $2 trillion. Eventually, you keep on spending all these trillions of dollars, and it'll start feeling like you're actually, spending real money. So, Japan once ran a debt 3 times their GDP, and they were fine. And they're actually running a 238% debt to GDP ratio right now. So they had 3 times, but they're more than 2 times now, but not, 3 times their GDP. But Japan once ran a debt 3 times their GDP, and they were like, you know what, that's good economics. That's just smart. That's just, why wouldn't you do something like that? So today they're, 238%, but they were 300% at one time or another. The United States GDP is $19.4 trillion. Technically, that means we have a $60 trillion debt. And we'll, let's see, technically, wait, sorry. We have $23 trillion in debt right now, but since we have $19.4 trillion, our GDP, if we would have run the same debt to GDP ratio that Japan has done for quite some time, and they're still afloat, we can run a $60 trillion debt. We can run a $60 trillion debt and still be okay. So how much money can we borrow? We can borrow up to at least $60 trillion. But, we got $23 trillion in debt right now, so that means we only can borrow $37 trillion. So, okay, so we can borrow up to $37 trillion. They're talking about a $1 trillion package. We can technically, if we did, Japan running up 3 times 300%, which is a little irresponsible to go straight for the maximum. So, we got $1 trillion deficit right now, $23 trillion in debt. We got some, wiggle room up to $60 trillion, but I feel like 300% is a little irresponsible. And so, it's responsible to not go to the maximum. Let's just go 200%. So, if America was just to go 200% debt to GDP ratio for the US of A, so doing what Japan has done forever, and they've been fine, that means we can borrow or create, however this money, wherever this money even comes from, we can borrow or create up to $17 trillion. But that's it. That's it. That's 200% debt to GDP. So we're making, $19.4 trillion worth of stuff every year. And so if we're $20 trillion in debt, then that means in 1 year's time we're going to make, that amount of stuff up in goods. So and that's the whole, that's macroeconomics. Create a bunch of shit, and then everything just is better. The standard of living goes up, everybody's wages and everything is just keep on creating a whole bunch of shit. Make sure that GDP is high. Just make, produce, create. So go out there and pick, 20 bushels of beans. Go out there and get you, 20 bags of corn. It'll sell. Somebody will buy it. Just keep on producing, keep on making. That's what GDP is. So $19 trillion is our GDP. That's what we produce. I think we're the top economy, top 1 or 2 economy. There's China and Germany. They're all up there, so we're all essentially tied. But $19 trillion is what we create, which means 200% would actually be, $38 trillion, but 19.4 rounded it up to 20 to make it round numbers. But $17 trillion, that's the line that I draw, $17 trillion. That's the cap as a liberal, as a socialist liberal, no more than $17 trillion. It's the Republicans that are saying we need $1 trillion. It's the tax and spend and these cradle-to-the-grave nanny state conservative Republicans. They are doing bailouts should go for the people, right? But you should also pull yourself up by your bootstraps and rip those $1,000 Trump checks up. You earn your keep. Shut the fuck up. Socialism for the rich. Rugged individualism for the rest of us. So what a great, fantastic Festivus. $17 trillion. That's the cap I draw. So I'm not the Bank of America. Bank of America says just, borrow from America's grandchildren. It's endless. Just on and on and on. 3,000, 4,000. Italy's numbers just keep on. 1,000, 2, 3. Now it's over 4,000 in Italy. More people have died in Italy than they have died in China. And more men are dying than women in Italy. 50 was reported dead in the U.S. just 3 days ago. Now it's 250. So reports of cases are just going up and up and up. So the world needs a $26 trillion bailout. The world needs? The world is in debt to whom? To whom can the world needs a $26 trillion bailout? We can, finance $17 trillion of that $26 trillion, but we can't finance the whole thing. It's got to come from, Canada or something. The European Union and NATO and Russia and China, they got to start, bailing. The world how can the world be in debt? $26 trillion? If the world is in debt, can't we all just cancel it? Everybody's in debt. Let's just everybody cancel it. How can the world be in debt? Who the fuck can the Earth? The Earth is indebted to whom? The Milky Way Federation, the Galactic Space Force Empire, the Lyranians. Who in the fuck could the world be indebted to? Is there the king of the universe? Is it Jesus? Is that who? China says their numbers have reversed, so China's numbers are going down. Italy's and America's numbers are going up. Unemployment is going up. Gas is going down. Government reporting, so this is official, right, numbers with China and Italy, so who knows what, who's telling the truth. Governments lie. No new cases, no new taxes. Yeah, I know. I've heard this song and dance once before. So Joe, he promised, old Joe Biden. Where's Joe Biden? Where is Joe Biden? Probably groping some kids somewhere. So Joe Biden he promised the wealthy class that only incremental change would happen. So Donald Trump is now the liberal. Donald Trump is the change candidate with UBI and socialism. Donald is the liberal and the conservative. Then who is Joe? Does Joe even know who Joe is? He's the anti-revolutionary, right? Fuck that revolution, right? He needs the revolution to become president, but fuck the revolution. What do you think the turnover of power is? The turnover of power is revolution. So he's against the revolution, but he's trying to say that he is the change that we need, but he's not even change. He's incremental change. So if Donald could pick up the revolution, pass universal health care in college, forgive student loan debt, legalize marijuana, he'd be the most beloved president ever. Ever. So basically, it's just, we have no progressives on the horizon. There's no chance of getting a progressive as our president, which means there's very little hope for America, if there's any hope at all. And then Donald, his change, he could become good, and, Joe could become good. Creepy Joe versus Creepy Don, both right-wing neoliberal pieces. It's a 50-50 coin flip. Who's going to win? Maybe one, maybe the other. It'll be a close election, and it'll be hilarious if it wasn't so goddamn depressing. Oh, my God. Really? Joe and Don? Does black people not believe in Martin Luther King anymore? Only Bernie Sanders was going to carry Martin Luther King's legacy, so now we have nobody on the horizon to carry Martin Luther King's legacy forward. So it's basically, we have to, rely on the good graces of either Joe will change his mind or Donald will change his mind. Maybe one of these assholes will say, you know what, progress, moving forward, progressive, the Bull Moose Party, Teddy Roosevelt, yeah, I'm a progressive. I want to move forward. I want to go, into the future. I don't want to regress and go backwards and get stuck into a ditch. I want to go up the mountain and discover the promised land and pass out a whole bunch of kiwis and oranges and apples to the multitude. 75,000 people in America die because of the lack of health insurance. 75,000 people in America. 45 million Americans don't have health insurance. We got homeless, and we got prison populations, and we got cruise ships and skyscrapers and all these, rich people that live in communes. America is just one big petri dish. We're all, susceptible. Nobody has immunity to it. 56% are going to catch it. 75,000 people in America die. Italy's having problems, and they have a stellar, #1 best healthcare system in the world, but they waited too long. Italy waited too long, and because they waited too long, now you got 4,000 people that are dead. 4,000 people in Italy are dead. So the numbers are rising, and they're rising almost seemingly exponentially. China says their numbers are going down, but Iran is hit hard, Italy is hit hard, and America don't even have universal health care. Millions are without health insurance. Millions are, 500,000 are homeless. Millions are poor. 75,000 Americans die every year because of lack of health insurance. So anyways, this is just about the debt limit. So $17 trillion. $17 trillion. That's the line that I'm going to draw. So yeah, you can borrow $1 trillion, Steve Mnuchin. I'll let you borrow $1 trillion as long as half of it goes to payments directly to Americans. At least half. At least half. Why wouldn't all of it go to? Why do we need another, half a trillion goes to Americans, the other half for the bureaucracy to get that $500 billion into our hands? Really, I want all the trillions, 100% of the spending bill to go to Americans. I don't want the Federal Reserve to get $200 billion to make a commercial paper factory. I want them to build hospitals, and I want people in America to take care of ourselves and each other. And so this is, you know, the way we're mobilizing society, there's ample change for, you know, revolutionary change. There's ample amount of opportunity for revolutionary change. The biggest thing about what a revolution is and not a revolution is that there's a change, and that change is good. So the wheel, the fire, the fork, so many things, the internet, the radio, the automobile, these were massive changes into our society, and those changes were good. Those changes progressed us into the future. So it all should be revolutionary. If it's not revolutionary, then what in the goddamn fuck do you represent? What do you represent? Who are you? What makes you tick? Why are you the way that you are? Dianne Feinstein. Why are you the way you are, Dianne Feinstein? Huh? 17 trillion. That's the line. No more. Peace.